Matthew Stafford's time to change teams? We may find that out any minute as the combine.
Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm told, are one. They have interest. New York Giants, I'm told, have a level of interest. Stafford wants to remain an LA Ram. He just needs to feel appreciated, needs to feel the love financially.
The NFL offseason has officially started, and don't worry, we're not even close to getting to typical slow news offseason content. Believe me, I was really tempted to make a video about the bizarre Steve Smith situation, but thankfully there's some actual NFL news we could get to first. The Los Angeles Rams are about to look way different next year, and it's really interesting because they're in the middle of playing the most bizarre game of chicken I've ever seen. So before we get to the content, we started a brand new YouTube channel called Uni Diamond Talk. We're going to be covering baseball on this channel. We're giving away 10 copies of MLB The Show 25 to a subscriber that turns on our notifications for this channel. And now that we get all of that out of the way, break! We've been on an amazing streak on Prize Picks, making $400 off of our last 3 picks, which proves that my data analysis model works. Sign up for Prize Picks using my promo code Mikerophone to get $50 when you make a play of $5, and follow my Instagram at @TheFlightMike to see my plays. I also give away additional plays on patreon.com/microphone, and thank you Prize Picks for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? The Los Angeles Rams were very close to making it to the NFC Championship. You can make a legitimate argument that if the weather wasn't so crazy between the Eagles and the Rams, then the Rams may have even made it to the NFC Championship. And I'm not taking anything away from the Super Bowl champion Eagles. This was a very competitive game that saw Matthew Stafford have an opportunity to drive down the field one last time and heroically win the game to send the Rams to the NFC Championship. And unfortunately, due to the Eagles' incredible defense, he was sacked on 3rd and 2 by Jalen Carter, and then had an incomplete pass to Puka Nacua to cause a turnover on downs, and just like that, the Rams season was over. But there was no question about it. If you saw the Los Angeles Rams play, there's no question that this is a team that could potentially compete for a Super Bowl moving forward. Unfortunately, the Los Angeles Rams have a debt, and that debt needs to be paid. Cooper Kupp was given a huge contract extension following his Triple Crown season, which was very well deserved, by the way. But unfortunately, Cooper Kupp hasn't been living up to the terms of that contract recently. I mean, since that incredible Super Bowl winning Triple Crown season, Cooper Kupp hasn't been able to get to 1,000 yards receiving since, getting 812 yards receiving in the year after in only 9 games played, and then 737 yards receiving in 12 games played in 2023, before getting to 710 yards receiving in 12 games played this past year. And when you consider the fact that the Rams have Cooper Kupp's replacement in Puka Nacua, and the fact that Cooper Kupp's cap number is $29.78 million, then it just makes way too much sense for Cooper Kupp to get traded. And we already made a video on this situation. He came out in the beginning of February saying that I was informed that the team will be seeking a trade immediately and will be working with me and my family to find the right place to continue competing for championships. I don't agree with the decision, and I always believed it was going to begin and end in LA. So this is clearly an individual that never wanted to leave the Los Angeles Rams, but due to his circumstances, it just makes way too much sense for him to leave the Rams. And we already covered this extensively. I mean, Adam Schefter came out and said, if the Rams have said that they will look to trade Cooper Kupp, here's the cost. If Kupp is traded, his new team would inherit his $20 million salary in 2025 and $19.85 million in 2026, unless his contract is renegotiated. And this is something that the Rams even explored this past season at the trade deadline, when they had a losing record at the trade deadline, but they opted to wait for Cooper Kupp to come back. They went on a winning streak and were able to make a decent run in the playoffs. Again, coming very close to being sent off to the NFC Championship. One has to wonder how the game would have gone if Aaron Donald was still playing. Sean McVay has been on record saying he loves Cooper Kupp, and the fallout of this one piece of news is significant. I mean, Matthew Stafford's wife, Kelly Stafford, who is known for being quiet and never speaking to the media at all whatsoever, gave a pretty puzzling take on the matter.
My husband, wants to win. He's not trying to put a team in a bad situation. If you're catching my drift, you're catching my drift. The trading away of Cooper, I'm confused because we were one play from going to the NFC Championship. And I think if we go, we win. I want the respect for him that he deserves. Yes, I love the city of LA. With that being said, I love an adventure.
And I'm not here to judge. I mean, I don't know how much Kelly Stafford knows about the salary cap and how much players make and how you can't be paying a player like Cooper Kupp's caliber $30 million to get you subpar production when he's not the same player he was a few years ago. But obviously, this isn't a case of the Los Angeles Rams just trying to move on from Cooper Kupp just for the sake of moving on from Cooper Kupp. This is more of a situation where they'd like to allocate those resources elsewhere. A player is performing below the standards of his contract, free agency is coming up, and the Los Angeles Rams have pressing needs elsewhere. But I can understand if from Kelly Stafford's perspective, she's looking out and saying,
oh my God, they don't care about winning anymore. They're trading Cooper Kupp, and my husband loves Cooper Kupp.
Now, Cooper Kupp isn't the only player in a strange situation here, because Matthew Stafford, as a result, has also been involved in some trade rumors. Matthew Stafford is one of the most interesting careers in NFL history because he had his prime seasons with the Detroit Lions, and nobody really cared because the Detroit Lions were terrible during the time that he was with them. And he's had some remarkable seasons with the Detroit Lions, especially during the Calvin Johnson era. I mean, in 2011, he threw for over 5,000 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, and 16 interceptions, winning comeback player of the year. He didn't make the Pro Bowl in this year, by the way. The very next year, he threw for over 4,900 passing yards for a 4-12 Detroit Lions squad. I mean, this is the story of Stafford's career. He would always put up these prolific passing statistics, but it wouldn't take the Lions that far. I mean, he led them to a 10-6 record in 2011, an 11-5 record in 2014, which is good enough to finally get him into the Pro Bowl. He boost his completion percentage by 7% and throw for 32 touchdowns and 13 interceptions in 2015, but since he led the Lions to a 7-9 record, he wouldn't make a Pro Bowl. I mean, it's truly remarkable looking at Stafford's career because before he got to Los Angeles, he didn't really get any respect, and even once he got to Los Angeles, he didn't get that much respect. He led the Los Angeles Rams to a Super Bowl in 2021. He threw for 4,886 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, and 17 interceptions. With a 67% completion percentage, he still wasn't good enough to make a Pro Bowl, despite winning a Super Bowl. It's truly remarkable how criminally underrated he's been throughout his career. And the years that he makes it to the Pro Bowl just doesn't make very much sense. I mean, in 2023, he makes a Pro Bowl, but he throws for sub 4,000 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions, leads the Rams to a 9-6 record. And in 2 years, his contract is set to expire. But Matthew Stafford is banking on the fact that he's going to be able to play into his 40s at this point, and he's campaigning for a contract extension. And to be honest, Matthew Stafford's contract extension demands aren't that crazy. It's actually pretty cool. He signed a 4-year, $160 million contract extension with the Rams in 2022. Last year, he agreed to a restructure, and now he's hinting to the Rams that he wants another contract extension. And the result was, according to Ian Rappaport, the Rams have given permission for Matthew Stafford's agent to speak with other teams about his value. This is not a trade request. Instead, the Rams and Stafford can gain a better understanding of his value outside the team, potentially making it easier to get a contract done. That means the hope that outside help can assist in gauging the market and seeing his value, and that this results in his return to LA. There were other rumors about Stafford being permission to seek out a trade, which could also be the case, but the Rams have so much leverage here, primarily because if you take a look at the other teams that are currently available, what other teams could Stafford get traded to? The best case scenario is the New York Giants. And with all due respect, that's not that great of a scenario. You're still in the same division as the Washington Commanders and the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Then you have the Las Vegas Raiders, who don't really have that much offensive depth. I mean, they have a great offensive line, but they don't really have wide receivers. And they're still in the same division as the Kansas City Chiefs, the up-and-coming Denver Broncos, the Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, yuck. But here's the thing. Matthew Stafford is seriously considering joining the Las Vegas Raiders. According to Jordan Schultz, Raiders minority owner Tom Brady recently hosted Rams QB Matthew Stafford at his home in Montana, where they spent time together and went skiing. Brady has been actively trying to convince Stafford to join the Raiders, and discussions are ongoing. Several teams are interested in Stafford if the Rams decide to move him, with Las Vegas believed to be the most aggressive suitor. Schultz also went on to say that if you really think that Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford just happened to run into each other at a ski resort in Montana of all places at the exact same time, I've got a bridge to sell you. They were together over the weekend. It happened. Multiple teams are interested in Stafford, and Brady has been leading the charge to get him to the Raiders if the Rams decide to trade him. There's no denying that the Tom Brady effect is real in Las Vegas. First bringing on Pete Carroll to be the brand new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, and now zeroing in on the perfect bridge quarterback. You might be wondering why Stafford would go to the Las Vegas Raiders, because there's no denying the fact that the Raiders would be significantly less competitive than the Los Angeles Rams. And the thing is, Stafford's prerogative here isn't to potentially win more Super Bowls, it's so he can guarantee himself more money till the tail end of his career. The reason why he's in this dispute with the Rams to begin with is he wants a commitment from the Los Angeles Rams for one last big payday because he's been playing at a high level. If that means giving up the opportunity to win a Super Bowl, which without a doubt, going from the Rams to the Raiders is a huge downgrade, not only in regards to roster construction, and I guess you can make an argument from their head coach, but just getting to the Super Bowl in the AFC is significantly harder than doing it in the NFC. If you just take a look at the quarterbacks you have to go through in the NFC versus the AFC, there's just no question which one's harder. In the AFC, you have Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen that you need to beat in order to make it to the Super Bowl. And this is no disrespect to the NFC, but the quarterback play isn't nearly as difficult in the NFC. You have the Cleveland Browns, but come on, bro, that's where quarterbacks go to die. You don't want to play for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, they're clearly headed for a rebuild at this point. But it's even crazier here because the Rams are really playing hardball, even going as far to say that they'd be comfortable with Jimmy Garoppolo as their starting quarterback if they decide to move on from Matthew Stafford. Do you know what the messed up part about all this is? Is the fact that Matthew Stafford is seeking a $50 million deal. So he's willing to take a pay cut to stay with the Rams despite having interest from 4 different teams. He's literally going to the Rams and saying, please don't send me to Cleveland. A $50 million yearly average is great, which is pretty funny. But if you just take a look at the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL, you have Dak Prescott, who's getting paid $60 million annually, which he totally deserves based off of the season he's had recently. You have Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, and Trevor Lawrence getting paid $55 million each. You have Tua that's getting paid $53.1 million. Then Jared Goff who's getting paid $53 million. Then Justin Herbert who's getting paid $52.5 million. Lamar Jackson who's getting paid $52 million. And Jalen Hurts that's getting paid $51 million. So Stafford's contract extension will put him right under Jalen Hurts. This is a very fair compromise. I mean, you're paying Matthew Stafford $50 million a year. That's a huge pay cut, especially given the new salary cap. But it's just kind of crazy that the Rams will come out and say, hey, if Stafford doesn't want to agree to a contract extension with us, or if he doesn't want to play for us, we're fine playing with Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is available, and the Rams are reportedly looking into Aaron Rodgers as well. The Rams have even said that they'd be willing to part ways with Matthew Stafford for a first-round pick, which pretty much says that they're not really trying to move on from him, but if a team really wants him, they'll part ways with him for a first-round pick. And a first-round pick is definitely an overpay for a 36-year-old quarterback, but then again, the Rams did kind of overpay to get Matthew Stafford to begin with. We just don't talk about it because they got a Super Bowl out of it, so it was very much worth it. At the end of the day, I think this is a bizarre game of chicken because the Rams are pretty much telling Stafford, hey, you want a contract extension with us? Fine. Go determine your value, and if you're not happy with what we're going to offer you, then we could send you to Las Vegas or Cleveland or New York. It's really up to you. Whereas Matthew Stafford just wants a bit of a pay bump. He clearly wants to stay where he's at. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this bizarre situation. Apart from that, there's a lot more players that are about to be traded. We made a separate video on that, and we're going to leave it in the end screen. A huge NFL trade is about to come, and we're going to keep you covered on this YouTube channel. I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.